All right, let's get into this. There's some things I gotta talk about. Ooh-wee. Ooh-wee. Number one, I was watching this video about Cyberpunk. Somebody made a video a couple weeks ago about just another video about people trying to be smarter than everybody and talk about the philosophy of it and all this other shit. And this video is like an hour and something long. So I'm like, I'm hearing the video. Now, out of all the things that this person was saying, it dawned on me about, how people talk about the genitalia that's clipping through. I was like, you know what? I think I figured out why that happened. Now, I've been doing this for over a year, but I haven't done like the clothes in animation. Because when you model clothes, like everything is in suspended animation. Like everything is like stuck in time. Wherever you place it, it's going to be stuck there. So, but I've seen multiple videos where you see people like using like they put the collision on the character model, which is this character right here. Then you have to put the collision on the clothes so the clothes won't fall through. Like, let me see. Okay, he has his pants on. Okay, if I don't put a collision and pin the clothes onto the character, his pants will just fall through the whole like world space. Or like if I put a jacket on him or something, it would just fall through the model. So you have to put a collision on the character to make him solid, him or her solid. Then you have to put the collision on the clothes so the clothes won't fall through. And people talked about like, why do you see the genitalia in the model of Cyberpunk? So it seems like I said, I haven't done this yet, but I've seen it done enough times. It seems like they did not put the collision on one of the two objects. Rather, they didn't put a collision on the character and they put the collision on the clothes, or vice versa. But it seems like they parented all the clothes onto the model. Now, the funny thing about this whole thing, I'm sitting up there looking at, I'm like, okay, you did not have to worry about a dynamic like character model. Now, what that means is, like in Cyberpunk, there's only like let's be honest, and I'm not trying to get anybody mad, but there's two basic genders. There's male, female. Even though you could put a dick on a chick and you could put a vagina on a dude, but it's just they're working with two basic models. They don't change. So when you have all these clothes, it's odd to me that you couldn't figure like you couldn't do this right. And it seems like one of the reasons why they didn't do it right, because it was like, since it was going to be in first person, nobody would have seen it. But it's like they didn't catch that error in the character creator, or when you go into the inventory and you see the like the model like in third person. Cause I caught that shit. I'm like, how come like my chick, her nipples are going through a bulletproof vest? I mean, they're literally clipping through. So that's what I'm saying. It just seems like one of them was they parent the clothes, but one of them just didn't have a collision modifier on it. Going to the engine I'm working on, it's called a collision modifier. Now some that may be using other engines, they may call it something different, but it's basically the same thing. So I'm like, it must have been something like that, where they just they just completely didn't catch that shit. Because there's no reason why, again, you're only using two basic models and you can't get this right. Now you got a game like Saints Row. Now even though to me, to be honest, I'm just not even gonna say that. Fuck it. But just like Volition as a company made and Deep Silver made Saints Row the third back, and that game came out in 2011. Now their character model is dynamic because you can make them muscular, fat, skinny, or whatever, and the clothes form to the character models and on dynamic character models. So how come a game in 2011 could form clothes on a dynamic model, but a game that came out in 2020 can't even do it with two basic models that are not dynamic? So it's 100% crazy. And so I was like seriously thinking, I was like, you know what, that was the thing, because I remember saying it like a long time ago, like a couple videos back, and I was wondering like what was up. So I was like, after all this time, it dawned on me, one of them must not have had a collision modifier on, or it was just parented fucked up, and they just said fuck it, nobody's going to see it because it's going to be in first person. And they claimed they didn't have the time to be like fixing the shit. So I'm like, no, fam, like this is crazy. But anyway, I just had to get that out of the way. Now I'm hearing this shit about, like, people are talking about the black Superman, and I'm watching all these videos about black people saying stuff about it. Now the one thing, like, this one white dude and this black guy said something that was true, which a lot of people have been saying it though. Like, just elevate some of the black characters that these companies already have. You know what I mean? Like I even said this story before. Back on a PlayStation 1, I think. I remember when I was in high school, this was like 90, like fall of 98, 99, or like early 2000 or something like that. I can't, it's one of them years. And we used to get off the bus and we used to go to a friend's house to play Capcom, not Capcom, Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Not one person that I knew wanted to see a movie of these dudes. It was just like whatever. You know what I mean? It was just like whatever for these dudes. But you know, a lot of people pick um three characters: Cyclops, Iron Man, and Cable, because they had the beam, and it took off a lot of damage. It had that like 120 something hit combo or something like that, and so everybody was picking that, but nobody was asking for like a Iron Man movie. Nobody cared. It was just, we just played the game just to like competitively, just to beat each other, and then we just went home, and then we may have gone back to the person's house to play it again or whatever, or we went to the park and just played. So now they made the Iron Man movie when that, like, 08 or something like that when it came out, and then he just blew up after that. But nobody was asking for an Iron Man movie. Nobody was asking for a Guardians of the Galaxy movie. Truth be told, nobody cared or wanted a Black Panther movie. I mean, not the people I knew, because we weren't in the comic books like that. We was like in the other shit, like whatever, like Final Fantasy 7 or Sonic, Mario, or something like that, or just video games in general. It wasn't like my mom and my cousins era. Now they was like in comic books when they was kids, but in our generation it died out. Like, you just had like X-Men the animated series and Batman the animated series, and that was it. But like as video game wise, like, people wasn't really asking for movies from these dudes. So anyway, so Iron Man blew up in '08 or whenever the fuck he came out, and then everybody liked him. So it was like that's what people are talking about with the Superman movie. Like, don't like we want to see like Henry Cavill make another Superman movie. Don't race swap um don't race swap Superman and just keep Superman how he is and make another movie. So, and if you're gonna use black characters, elevate like the Blue Marvel or Icon or what's her name? Her name is Monica something like Rambo, I think. Like elevate those characters, and then they will be the new like how Iron Man was. Like I said, nobody cared about Iron Man like that until he made these movies. Not everybody likes to do. So I'm like, I hear that. I mean, I have no disagreement. A lot of people was asking for that. I remember Michelle Rodriguez got caught on TMZ one time, and she was saying that we need to make like new superheroes or some shit like that. It was something like that, and everybody that with common sense agreed with her. You know what I'm saying? Like it's just like lazy for the company to just take a existing character that's white and just swap him out for like representation or some shit like that. So I'm like, I got no problem with that. But the problem is like this one dude, one black guy, he was saying how everybody needs representation, which I have no problem with. But he was like, white people need representation. It's kind of like, even if you did take, if you race swap Superman and made him, you could have made him anything. You could have made him Hispanic, Asian, black, whatever, Arab, whatever. White people will still have representation because they have like the majority of these superhero characters. You know what I'm saying? Like most of the characters they got are white, so they have more than enough representation. Like you don't, as a black man, like you don't have to cape for white people to have representation because they already have it. And then he was talking about like he was saying, "Oh, I want my boy Nightwing or whoever. I want him to have a movie and I want them to do this and do that and shit." It's just like, look, number one, you. I'm not saying you asking for a lot, bro, but it's kind of like they probably ain't gonna give him that. So instead of waiting for them doing all this, these night wings and all this other shit, dark wing duck and all these other motherfuckers you asking for. I mean, it's just like I said, I realized a long time ago, and thank God for my man. He's still working on my shit. I realized a long time ago, I'm not gonna be sitting around waiting for white people to give me representation. That's look. I'm not trying to say nothing fucked up about this shit. But I'm not waiting around for white people to finally throw me a bone and be like, okay, here's a black superhero. When I could make my own dude. Like, like, I'm just not waiting around for this shit. And I knew early on, back in '99 about this. I was like, X-Men, because I used to like X-Men back when the show came out on Fox back in '93. That used to be the shit. And it was like I like Jubilee though. She was cool. And Storm was cool. Like I like female characters, but because I just like female characters. But it's just like who they had that was black? Bishop, and he seemed like he didn't pop around like that like all the time. So it was just like you ain't never seeing him, or as far as I remember, I don't remember seeing him. So it's just like instead of waiting for them to give me a black character that's gonna do something, and when he's not even gonna be part of the main thing, he's gonna have like one episode, and you won't see him for the next 5 to 10 episodes or some shit. It's just like fuck it. I would make my own people. I would just be self-sufficient and make my own. I don't have to wait around for nobody, dude. Like the shit is insane. Like hearing these dudes, and I'm sitting up here like, come on, bro. I mean, come on, dude. I mean, he's sitting up there waiting around for like Warner Brothers to give him like Nightwing. I mean, even though he was talking about Icon, but at the same time, though, I'm not waiting for um like I don't even know. Like let me think. Like okay, like Final Fantasy 7. Final Fantasy is my shit. Final Fantasy is my shit. I like Final Fantasy 7. I like all the final. Well, I'm not gonna say I like all the Final Fantasy games, but Final Fantasy is the genre that I like. I like RPGs and whatnot. Now they know for a fact that they're gonna come out with Final Fantasy as long as it's making money. Like after they talked about what 16 is about to come out, like they know they're gonna make a 17, 18, 19, 20, and so on. We are waiting for Final Fantasy 30 for obvious reasons. We was talking about that years ago, but anyway, so I was like, wouldn't it be cool if they had like a black led like leader? Because you see like Zaz in Final Fantasy 13, he got guns. Barrett got guns. I'm like, why they give the black man? Why they always give black people guns and shit? Like, come on, you I can't even talk right now, but you're enforcing the stereotypes. Except for one guy in Final Fantasy 8 that didn't have a gun, but he wasn't even the leader of the group. His name was Cairo or some shit like that. Regardless of that, so I'm like, look, wouldn't it be cool if they made a black like leader? Because I remember, like, I wasn't a Power Rangers fan, but I remember a long time ago, like, people like me included was like looking for a black lead, like Red Ranger. Like, this was a while, like a long time ago, and I was like, I would have got into it if they did. But I think they did like eventually. But then he was a black ranger, but then the white guy was the red ranger, and they kind of shared the shit. It was so, like I never watched it. I never watched the shit like that. Because even when the Power Rangers came to America with Jason and Billy and them, like my shit was the Ninja Turtles, not Power Rangers. I remember this dude, he liked the Power Rangers, and they kind of used to clown him for that. But like, so I was just like, you know what? I would just make my own. Like, I would just make my own lead dude, and I gave the series a name. I gave him characters and everything, and they was modeled after me and my girlfriend at the time. Like his love interest was the girlfriend I was with at the time, and I was putting like other people in. I'm not gonna wait around for Square to do make it like a black dude. Like if they do, and he's like on some cool shit, not a stereotype. Just how they would write a regular lead character, but then they just made him black. That's all you. This is not rocket science. You just because just how you write a lead character, like Titus was Squirrel, Zidane, Cloud, like what however you write a lead character, then just make him black. That's all you have to do. But anyway, if they do the shit, fine. If they don't, fine. Because I got my own shit that's happening. I'm not waiting around for them. You know what I'm saying? You see people like I don't know. You see people on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Like they're coming out with like their own comic book series, and you know what I'm saying? Like they're doing their own thing, and they're black. They're just doing their own thing, and you got like a lot of like black um like manga creators. You see a lot of that shit, and they're making their own thing. It's just it's just like they're just making their own thing, dude. Instead of just waiting around for somebody to give them something. So it's just like all I'm saying is like these dudes wait talking about the black Superman, and then it's not like the black Superman don't exist already anyway. What is he like? Or what's it called, Earth 23 or some shit like that? So I mean, he's not going to be Clark Kent. Isn't he like his own dude anyway? It's just in another like universe or some shit. So it's not like they like taking Clark Kent and just making him black. There's already a black existing Superman. So it's just like, I mean, y'all getting y'all panties in a bunch of shit. And then it's like everybody's talking about like, oh, this is trash, this is trash. But if that movie came out right now, these same assholes talking about the black Superman would be right in the theaters watching this shit. Don't sit up there and say like, oh man, fuck WB, fuck that. You will be right there giving WB them your money. Cause you'll be right in line. That's the same. I remember it was this dude on a radio station here. When he heard that Ben Affleck was going to be Batman, he said he physically felt sick. I'm never forgetting hearing that. He said he physically felt ill. And I'm like, damn, is it that serious? Now, some people will say, yeah, serious. I'm like, first of all, like I said, I don't like these dudes. So I didn't care one way or another. They could have literally got Danny DeVito to be Batman. I would have laughed and I would have just been like, whatever, because this ain't my shit. But then these same dudes that was talking about, man, fuck Ben Affleck, fuck him, went to see the Batman he was in, and they was like, the dude, the same guy on the radio station came back and was like, oh, it wasn't as bad as I thought it would be. You motherfucker, you fucking fuckface. You gonna sit up there and say some shit like, oh, I'm ill because of Ben Affleck, but now you singing his praises. Like I remember when they talked about Heath Ledger. I see, that's what I'm saying. A lot of people don't remember a lot of this shit. Now a lot of people don't remember what people was talking about. They was like, oh, dude from, I think he was in 10 Things I Hate About You prior to that. They was like, oh man, the Joker's the pretty boy, and this is 10 Things I Hate About the Joker, and this is 10 Things I Hate About Heath Ledger. And they was just crying. Mad dudes was crying. I mean, they wept when they saw the Dark Knight or whichever one he was in. Heath Ledger's the greatest Joker of all time now. I mean, I don't feel that way, but I'm just saying for them though, the same people crying about it. I mean, come on, dude. Like, it's one thing if you on some real shit and be like, man, fuck this, I ain't never seen it, and you really stuck to the gun. Then it'll be like, you saying some real shit, you ain't see it, you ain't following the sheep, you on your own, you on standing on your square, you your own dude, and you just said, fuck it, I ain't watching this shit because, like, I don't know, Danny DeVito is Batman now, fuck Danny DeVito. But then, like, whenever the movie comes out, like, no, even when the trailer comes out, you be like, oh my god, and then you be right in line, and then after that, you be like, man, you know, Danny DeVito, he was getting it in. Like, come on, man, stop. You know, that's why I don't be paying attention to these motherfuckers like that. Y'all be sitting up there crying and shit, but then when the shit come out, you be like, man, I mean, he did some cool stuff though. Like, get the fuck out of here, man. Y'all motherfuckers are lame. Y'all need to choke on dick. Cause like I said, y'all motherfuckers be whining about that shit. I mean, come on, bro. Like I said, you be right there with Superman if he was black. You be right there, especially if he it's just especially if he was doing some cool shit. Like I said, I don't care. I don't care one way or another. Cause like I said, it's just like whatever, man. For me, it's just like whatever. But y'all motherfuckers, I mean, y'all, like I said, I'm not waiting for white people to give me nothing. I'm not waiting for them to give me like a superhero to do some cool shit. I'm already writing my own story. Like I said, my man is making my shit. He's drawing the shit. I'm cool. I just wish me didn't take as long as I did to get to this point, and I wish my man wasn't taking long to work on this. Because like I said, he got other projects to get to. So I'm not gonna be like a dictator and a taskmaster and just be like, you know what I'm saying? Because what I was gonna do before I even met dude, I was like, since I'm doing this in 3D, I just might as well just make my shit in 3D. Like it would just take me a very long time to actually finish the model. You know what I'm saying? But like the models, because even this character that people are seeing are in the movies to this shit. So I was just gonna work on the main bulk of Troop 332 and Comcool's crew, and then just like work on everybody else as I go along until I found dude. So I was like, okay, cool. You see what I'm saying? And like I said, I'm not a type of dude to promote my own shit. Like I just like the creative process. I just stay in my corner. I stay in my attic, and I just create shit. Now if I could get a dude that's on some business shit, he got a gift of gab and he could run his mouth and sell my shit, that's a totally different story. That would be that dude. He or she or whoever. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not like, you know what I'm saying? Cause I'm an introvert. I'm sitting here in the camera, but it's just me by myself talking to myself. You know what I mean? But I'm just like, regardless of that, I'm just like, man, dude, I'm not. No, that's just not, like I said, that's just not my get down. Like I said, if WB makes an Icon movie, or Marvel does like a Blue Marvel movie, I think his name is, then that's cool. That's cool. That's fine. And just elevate him on some real shit. But I'm not gonna be emailing and tweeting Marvel and DC about this shit. Because like I said, to me, I'm just like whatever. So like this dude, I mean, he's just draped in Superman shit. I'm just like, man, bro. See, I mean, be having tattoos of Superman on your arm and Superman hats as a black person. Like I always had a problem with that. Cause it's like you got a white man's logo on your ass. I'm like, come on, bro. But at the same time, like there's no black dudes with logos. That's on some shit. Like I got my logo. You know what I'm saying? But like who knows what my shit is? And the whole thing about representation, like since this is in the news, I was watching this Asian chick, and she was talking about how she found out her lineage. Like she found out what country she was from. Like she did like a 23andMe. And so, you hear a lot of these Asian people, like especially, yeah, just a lot of Asian people when they're in like predominantly white countries, talking about like they had to hide who they were, or like um they couldn't bring their traditional food to school, or they would have got made fun of. And so I'm sitting up there like just listening, because this one chick was like, she didn't want to get made fun of, and she wanted to like she asked her mom to make her something American, like pasta and other stuff like that. And I'm like, chick, homegirl, pasta's Italian. That's not even American. And so I'm just like, whatever. And you hear them talking like, your food smells funny. If I was an Asian person and some white kid said that, I'd be like, yo, mama pussy smell funny. Now shut the fuck up and let me eat my dumplings in peace, motherfucker. The fuck you running your mayonnaise mouth for? I guarantee you they'll be like, oh my god. Like, yeah, oh my god. Oh my god, these nuts. I mean, I'm hearing so many Asian stories like that. Like, they had to hide who they are. They had to shrink who they were. Like, homegirl in her class pictures, like, she had her head down. Because she's, like, over there in Europe. And I'm like, damn, man. Like damn, they had y'all fucked up in school. See, that's what I'm saying. My dude, Kong Win, him and his brother, I know his brother. Yeah, I know his brother had a legitimate name. But it was his brother Kong. And his little brother, we called him Little Kong. But they were brothers. As far as I remember, nobody heated up on these dudes. They was just Asian. They were from Vietnam. And we just left it at that. They was cool with us. We was cool with them. Because at the time, me and my friend, we didn't live that far from them. Like, because it was my block, then there was another block. Then my friend lived on the next block over. And then after that, it was like the stores. Across the street was where they lived in these, Kong and them lived in the apartments across the street. So after school, we would just walk and just talk. You know how kids do. We went to their house, we talked, and then we bounced and went back to our houses. And then sometimes we would just go back to their house and play because we were shooting. Now, people shouldn't do this, but we didn't know the dangers of the shit. But we was like firing. We had Roman candles, and we were shooting them at each other. It was like a Roman candle fight. We was just fucking around. And one of the balls hit dude's shirt, Little Kong, and his shirt kind of caught on fire. He put it out. But anyway, we didn't look at him fucked up. We didn't say like, oh, don't bring no Vietnamese food over here, and we didn't feel like maybe it's white people that be doing that shit. But it's just like, when I'm hearing these stories about these Asian people shrinking who they are and hiding, I'm like, man, motherfucker, don't hide. Y'all be liking white people so much anyway, and it's like, yeah, but just don't do that shit, man. Just don't hide who you are, bro. But anyway, they talking about like representation and shit. Like I said, I got like a Asian Satasha. Basically, she looks Chinese. But I never went into making Black Dragon #8. Again, mind you, this is in 1999. There was no, like, people barely had the internet. I had the internet over my grandmother's house. And it was just like chat rooms. But nobody really went to chat rooms. Not too many people knew they existed, but whatever. That was like the only equivalent of what like Twitter and all this other shit became. But it was just like I just put her there. It wasn't like I gotta put Asian people because of representation. Like I'm not trying to sound fucked up about it, but it's like because nobody thought about using words like representation and diversity. It was just like she was just there. Like I couldn't model her after one of my favorite Asian characters, who was Chun-Li. So it was just like it was my second favorite, which is Power for Virtual Fighter, like the name. She was modeled somewhat after her. So that was it. And she ended up with my friend that I put in the in my story, who was Mexican, who was Blitz in Black Dragon #8. And that was it. And he was like, and Blitz was my guy, Mike Gonzalez, in high school. he was me and Sam, who was duo. We was just hanging out. You know, me and Mike never had classes together. I think Sam and Mike did, but I had I think math with Sam. And if we curse in class, we have to do like 15 push-ups and shit. Cause the guy, the teacher was also the gym teacher. But anyway, so that was it. That was all. Like the only piece of the whole thing was at the time I was like, you don't see any biracial superheroes. So that's why I put like I gave like my wife in the book white, and now that was how that started. It's not like, oh, I just like white women or some shit like that. It was just like I just didn't see it, just off of just I didn't see it. It wasn't like I'm reaching for representation. It's like I didn't see it, so I'ma just do it. Fuck it. Boom, there it was. And that's just how, like I said, I'm not trying to be like I mean, if I get a white chick, Asian chick, Hispanic chick, it's just like black chick, as long as they fine. I mean, as long as they fine, it's like whatever. You know what I mean? Like I'm not looking for like specific chick. But it's just like in this story, it was like, and do you know it's set in when we get to Earth and with all this shit going on, like how that dynamic would be like an alien race that has no racism on their planet come to another, like this is just a small part of the story, but just come to another planet with all this shit going on, like how would that be? And so that was it. But then, like I said, like I didn't know about Miles Morales until like years later, and I'm like, oh, there he was. And then it's like I think Jessica Jones and Luke Cage got a kid or something. But like I said, but their kids or whatever are not prominent. Like Miles Morales is prominent, but like I said, like I just didn't know he existed until later. So I'm just like, I mean, that's how that whole thing was. But like I said, the whole thing is like for the Asians and whatnot going on. Like don't shrink who you are. I mean, be bold about it. Like shit. Just be Asian. Like you ain't even gotta kick people in the face for this shit. You ain't gotta be like bold and be like, yeah, motherfucker, this is who I am. You could just be like, whoever got a problem with it, fuck it. Like my man and his brother. We I see. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on this planet. I just don't know what's going on. I just don't. I seriously don't know what's going on. Like it's just so weird. Like my mom, when she was growing up, she had like her grandmother had these like Japanese porcelain dolls growing up, and I remember I don't think I seen them, but I remember my mother telling me about it, and she was like, Asian eyes are beautiful. Like when I was growing up as a kid, I heard that. So I never looked at like Asian people's eyes like in some derogatory way or whatever. It was just like, I mean, they got eyes. Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not like they got a third eye or four eyes or nothing. It's like they just got a different eye shape. Like, and I just grew up hearing like just I heard that before every time she told me the story. And like I said, like knowing about like Asian, like Chinese, like with Bruce Lee, and then hearing about the Vietnam War, and then playing video games, and you see the credits, and they're Japanese, like Sega, like the end of the credits of Sonic, and then I found out about like K-pop with Music Video Heaven in '99. That's how I knew about Korea. And it was just like whatever. And I told you about, like, in sixth grade, I had my friend, the two brothers. They were Vietnamese. Like, and then even with the other two sets of brothers, they're Chinese, and they like comic books and shit. Like, they nobody was like fucking with them. Like I said, and then me doing this shit, like I never just felt the need to just do like a pandering to motherfuckers. It's just like whatever. I'm just doing shit I want to see. Now whoever likes the shit, then they like it. I mean, it's just people just fighting and crying and whining on the internet. I mean, just crying about shit. I'm just like, dude. I'm just like, dude. I mean, it's just 100% ridiculous. And I'm just like, man, what the fuck happened? And you know, with all this shit going on, with all this fighting and shit, it just, even though I realized this a while back, but I mean, it fucks up with people's mental health though. I mean, truth be told, like you be in a comment section, you leave a comment, then you have some nutsack somewhere in Vermont trying to clap back at you, and then it's like you hearing all these other voices and shit, and you gotta fight this person, you gotta fight this person. It fucks with you mentally. It has to fuck with people mentally, and especially like with all this shit, this racial shit going on. Like as black people, this fucks up the psyche of people. Just thinking like, oh, I'm gonna be next, or like this happened to another black man or black chick or something. You'd be like, ah, and then you seeing different angles and different voices, and this motherfucker gotta say this, and this motherfucker gotta say that and shit. And it's just like, it's just you're just being bombarded by all these voices. Like I don't think mankind was built for this shit. Like I don't think mankind was built to be bombarded by all these voices all over the place. You know what I'm saying? And I basically do this shit like what I'm doing now. You know what I mean? Like I have like stuff in the background that plays, and I be watching like people in the new black media and everything. You know what I mean? Or just in general, like other people's like voices and shit. And it's just like it got to the point where it's just like hearing it. It's so crazy. It's like sometimes you just gotta step back. Like this one chick, um, she had to step back. She said she talks to a therapist, a black lady. Said she talks to a therapist because it's just too much sometimes. And it's like on some real shit. That's how people feeling. Like it's, and the people don't want to. I don't know. People don't want to admit it or nothing. And then you got to push back on this other, like with the whole anti-Asian hate. It's like some of these people are like homeless, or they're not like black American. They're like immigrants and shit, and we get lumped in with them. And then we got to push back. Like damn, we ain't fucking with the Asians. And like I said, I would say 90% of my artistic like influences are like Japanese and Korean. Like, and it's just like I'm like pushing back, like, oh no, we're not doing this. And they'll be like, because the media is saying this, and the people say the media is fake news, and I don't believe in the media. But when it comes to black people, it's like, oh yeah, we believe everything the media says about black people. But other times, it's like, no, we don't believe in the media. It's just like this whole thing, and it's just like god damn, and it's just too much fighting and bickering. Like we not supporting this group because they don't support us, and these motherfuckers don't like us over here, and fuck them, and they like fuck you, and when something happens to you, when a Klans member, I mean cop, kills you in the street, that other group, like the Asian group, is like, oh, we don't care because y'all attacking us, and it's like, no, it's not, no, we ain't. They're like, because the media said so, and it's like, damn, dude, it's just all over the place, and you just gotta be like, and then it's like the slightest move you make, again, since I'm on the subject, like Pi, my character, like she has no crease in her eye, but that's how she was modeled back in 1999. Now, people, if she gets popular, because you see pictures, you go to my Facebook page, you might see a picture of her there. I mean, this around the time I was really learning try to do Photoshop, so whatever. The color scheme may be bad, but I mean, you see how she looked, and that was like back in 2014. But it's like people might have a problem, like, oh, how come she ain't got no crease? And it's like, damn, dude. Like, it's like representation, even though I wasn't aiming for it, but there she is, and people still got a problem with it. So it's just like I remember like hearing the story about Led Zeppelin, and they were saying like the lead singer Robert Plant, they had to hide the magazines from him because he didn't like the negativity that might have been said about him in these magazines. I mean, dude, if this was now, he couldn't escape that shit. You know what I'm saying? I mean, hell, even with me, it's like, oh brother, how come you gotta have a white chick in the book? Like, and and me and other black people in my shit are doing some cool shit, but it's like, you with a white woman, though. The Snow Bunny crisis. And it's like, damn, dude, like I said, back in 99, motherfuckers wasn't thinking that shit. People was just doing shit. But it's just like I said, it's just every turn is a fight. I mean, some people will rock with you, some people wouldn't care. But it's like you could have like 100 positive comments. You could just have 100 positive comments though. Like they like, oh, black people are getting it in, this, that, and the other. Like, yeah, the brother's doing this shit. But then somebody would be like again, why he gotta have a white woman? No, then that's the one that sticks out. And you just be like, come on, man. Then if you got a problem with it, then just make your own. And then it's not like there's no like black people with black relationships in my shit. Like the creator. I'ma just leave it at that. The creator, even though it has one name, but it's a black dude and a black chick. And then like like I said, I'm gonna just leave it at that. I'm gonna leave it at that. But no, I'm gonna just say this. They don't show up a lot, but they on some real shit. So it's like shit like that, dude. Like, I mean, hell, even with one of my characters, like her mother's black and her father's is Asian. Since they're Satashas, they're not bound by race like Earth, but they look it. And that has something to do with something I did in the future. And now I'm gonna leave it at that. But it's just like, damn. I mean, I'm just doing shit I want to see. That's all. I'm not trying to do anything. Like I said, if you like the shit, that's cool. If you don't, then I don't know what to tell you. But again, I'm not waiting around for like anybody in Japan to make like a cool black dude. Like, even though people like Afro Samurai, and again, people had a problem with him. Like you had an Asian dude. I remember this shit. I remember this shit clear as day. It was Afro Samurai and Hancock, the Will Smith movie. I'm gonna get on that. They was like, oh, Afro Samurai is cool, but like he was schizophrenic. Like you had an Asian man that made a black samurai. The man was Japanese. He made a black samurai. I'm not saying you should just take anything anybody gives you, but I mean the story was cool. But this one criticism just made it seem like, oh man, fuck Afro Samurai. He trashed because he had schizophrenia because of Ninja or Ninja, and it's like again with Hancock, like they were saying like, oh, he's a superhero, but why he gotta be an alcoholic though? You know what I'm saying? There's like the white people rehabilitated him, like they were like the white savior. It's just like, damn. See, and that was back then. So like, imagine now. It's like you can't escape this shit. You just can't like this shit. And it was just like this dude I was watching yesterday was talking about Hancock. He was talking about why it didn't go as far as the studio wanted to be. And then he was talking about like the suit that he ended up wearing, the black suit with the yellow trim. He was saying some shit like, this is not the suit he was supposed to wear or something like that. But it's like, how the fuck do you know that though? Because this is the first time. This is the first iteration of this character. So to say that he shouldn't have had this type of suit, to who? And if you had a problem with this back in '08, and I'm pretty sure he was like a baby or like a small child, you wasn't like you wasn't descendant like the people that be making the suits and shit. Like it'll be one. What I'm saying is this: it'll be one thing if there was a series of Hancock movies and then they rebooted and then he had a different suit. Then you could say like, oh, this is not his like original suit or nothing close to it. Like just say Iron Man or something. Like we all know what his suit looked like. Now they rebooted with a new dude. Now he got like a hubcap on his chest. He got like tin cans on his hands. They'd be like, what is this? You see what I'm saying? But since this is Hancock's first movie, whatever his suit looks like is what his suit looked like. And then, but you gotta make a video trying to be smarter than the average bear, trying to act like you know what you're talking about. Like, like my suit and my shit. Like, this would be the first time you're seeing it. Like, besides us wearing human clothes, but when we first show up, that's the suit I got. Motherfuckers change clothes. And then who are you to tell somebody at the thing what they should be doing? Like it goes back to the dude again. Some guy made a comic book. He was making a comic book movie, and he said my movie would be rated R. Some fan told the creator, "What the fuck do you know?" This motherfucker made the motherfucker, and you gonna sit up there and tell him that he's doing the shit wrong. See, that's what I'm saying. And he's probably some nutsack in Istanbul or something. Like, I ain't heating up on people from Istanbul, but it's like you're some random dude somewhere on Earth telling the creator, like, dude, you doing this shit wrong. That's what I'm saying. It's just way too crazy. It's like, I mean, mental health that shit is real. that shit is That shit is real. Mental health. That people do need to talk to somebody. That shit is serious. You know what I'm saying? I advocate motherfuckers to find somebody, a shaman, a spiritual leader, Yoda, somebody. Y'all motherfucker. Everybody needs to talk to somebody. Don't bottle the shit up. You know what I'm saying? Don't bottle the shit up. Talk to a motherfucker. Anybody that will listen, just to be just like I just feel better getting this shit off my chest. I mean, that's why that's why I be doing these videos and shit, cause I had to say this shit and put it out there, man. Cause I was talking to my mom about this shit before, about like these superheroes. She wasn't getting this shit. She wasn't getting what I was saying. And then when you talk to somebody that, not saying she was dismissing me, but talk to somebody that would get this shit. Like, you know what, like, I feel where you coming from. Like, if you talk to somebody, you'd be like, I don't believe your ass. Then you might end up harming yourself or something, or harming others. So like, it's just best to talk to somebody that understands what the fuck you talking about. Because people losing it. People were losing it hard. Like it was this one chick. I'm watching this video. She's one of these nut sacks that's talking about, oh, cultural appropriation and cancel culture and all this shit. Now, I'm gonna be real. My mom, like, one of the reasons why I'm like understanding of a lot of cultures, because I grew up, like, my mom cooked everything. Like, she cooked spaghetti, she made shrimp fried rice, um, orange chicken, euros, tacos, burritos. Like, this was in my house. My mom used to cook, if she still does. And it was just like, it was good food. I mean, it's probably not as good as if it was like from the authentic nationality that made it. Because I had a burrito from this Mexican chick when I was living out west, and it was like, yo, you know what I'm saying? It was a little spicy, but it was like, whoa. So it was just like, you know what I'm saying? But the fact is that nobody was thinking about like, oh, you shouldn't cook this because this is cultural appropriation. You see what I'm saying? But now since I put this out there, oh, you shouldn't do this now. Like, nobody's making money off of this. You're just cooking it in the home. And then even if you do say something, like, it's just she's still gonna do it anyway. You know what I mean? And we're not trying to like not give credit to anybody. Like, I mean, I'm hearing all these shits about like K-pop and how like they got black engineers, black writers helping them with their shit, but they don't give black people no credit. Like, it's like shit like that. Like we ain't doing that. Like, we know where this stuff comes from, and we be like my mom makes spaghetti, but if you go to an Italian family, it'll be like on a whole new level. You know what I mean? But if my mom makes spaghetti, I ain't gonna be like, oh, that's cultural appropriation. I'm gonna be there eating it. You know what I'm saying? It's just way too much, man. People need to chill. It's just people need to chill. Like I said, people need to talk to somebody. I gotta cut this off though, cause I gotta take this man's pants off. I gotta take his pants off to like do the rest of his skin. Even though I don't have to. I don't even have to do his back or his front, but just for the sake of argument, you know what I mean? I mean, I hope this video wasn't all over the place, and if it was, I don't give a fuck, but like I said, people need to chill. Going back to the whole comic book shit, if they make a black Superman, if he do some tight shit, I mean, I hear what they're saying, but you're gonna be there watching it anyway. So it don't matter if they made like a Arab Superman, you will be right there. You would just be right there just to see the shit. You know what I'm saying? or like just people need to just calm down, man. And like I said, talk to a motherfucker, cause that shit's important. And I'm not trying to be on like, I mean, people just really, they honestly need to talk to somebody. You know what I'm saying? Cause it's just like I think, in my honest opinion, social media was more of a curse than a blessing. I mean, it's cool that you could like get information and shit, and hopefully it's the right kind. But if you lingered, especially if you linger too long, that shit would drive you crazy. And be talking about shit that, like, who are you talking about? People trying to be funny, people trying to be smarter than everybody, people getting into these debates and shit. Like, you hearing people getting that. Like, I make a video about depression. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like, I got depression and shit. You know what I mean? Like, and it's not because of social media though, but I mean, you hearing too, like I said, you hearing so many voices and shit, and it's just like nothing ever seems to be the right way to do stuff. Cause somebody gotta criticize everything. It could just never be. You know what I'm saying? It just could never like live on its own. See, like when I post shit, for the most part, like even though Instagram is a thirst trap, but for the most part, I just post my shit and bounce. Like my pictures and shit. I just post my shit and bounce. I don't stay too long to be engaging in different conversations. Like the art world. And I even got some things about that shit. Because it's like people looking for black creators, but then when you have a black creator, nobody props them up like that. Like you looking for black, I even said this in this I even said this before, because it was like on a podcast they said they need black superheroes. I made them, but you still treat me like a zero. Fuck it, I'll be my own leader. You know what I'm saying? I'm not gonna go into the rest of the shit I was saying. But it's just like, okay, in the black creators, they were like, oh, name, I bet you can't name any black creators and all this other shit. And we need more black artists and all this stuff. But then when somebody present them to you, you don't prop them up. It's just like with these superheroes, like even these black dudes talking about the black Superman. We don't want the black Superman. Fuck him. We want to keep Henry Cavill. But then if somebody was like, okay, even they're like, fuck what the shit they already got. But here's a new dude. Here's a new black superhero. Black, large. I don't know the number, but black people will still reject him because he ain't Superman. He's not the white dude that you love, but there's a black guy that looks like you, a representation of you, and you still reject him. Like, and then it's like people don't know what the fuck they want. Like, we want this, we want representation, but then they give it to you. Then it's like, oh, it ain't good enough. Or, like I was talking about Pie, like she has no crease in her eye. Like, it's like, come on, man. Like I said, it's just a whole thing. It's just a whole thing. Like I said, I advocate people talk to somebody. There's a suicide hotline. I don't know the number, but if you feel like taking your life, call somebody. Talk to somebody that understands where you're coming from and don't be dismissed. You know what I'm saying? Damn. I mean, that's all I gotta say on that. Like my man Aquademus, I ain't gonna sit there. I mean, it is what it is. Like I said, I'm out of here, man. I've been on here too long. I mean, that's why I got this. That's why I got this shirt. Y'all crazy. That's all. I forgot I even had this shirt on. I ain't forgot what it said. Y'all crazy. That's it. Money over stank holes.